The mortgage industry doesn't have a technology problem. It has a coordination problem. So let me ask you, are we trying to solve the wrong thing? What do you think, David?
Hey, Brian. Well, thank you first and foremost for having me. I've been following you for a long time, ever since the days over at Flagstar when you had the TPO portal of the future, I used to call it, with the paperless file manager. I've been watching your career, and you've landed in, from FinLocker, you landed in probably the perfect spot for you. So it's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be on this show, and I can't thank you enough to be here. From the answer to that question, yeah, it's definitely a coordination problem. It's the mortgage industry is just made up of all these fragmented tools. Different tools solve different problems, but none of them speak to each other. And no one knows that better than you, the president of MISMO, that's responsible for data standards in the mortgage industry. So definitely a big problem here that we're looking to solve. And I think a lot of other companies are looking to solve as well.
I love that. Well, guys, you're in for a treat today. We've got David Rogove, founder and CEO. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Oh, amazing. Amazing.
You got it.
Founder and CEO of Maestro, and formerly the founder of Weimlo, right? And you had
Yes.
a successful exit of that platform. But what I really love about your story is you started as a loan officer at the
Yep.
age of 18, right?
Yep.
You did the grind there. You built Weimlo, you scaled it, you exited that business to Remax. And here, I think guys like you are like these serial builders, right? You're at it again. Let's just start with a simple question. What did you learn the first time with that Weimlo platform that made you say, we still have work to do, we still have more to solve?
Yeah, totally. I think just to give you kind of an overview back, I think Maestro didn't come just from Weimlo. It really did come from when I was 18 years old. I started out as a loan officer in 2001, cold calling, making 10% commission. This was before Dodd-Frank, before all the rules. And, when we were faxing big submissions in, I really learned I wouldn't call myself a dinosaur. I'd call myself like the right age. I was able to understand how things used to get done, and I understand the technology of today really well. So that helps me out a lot. So I started out as a loan officer, worked my way up, and then I opened up a brokerage that became one of the largest in New York State. Today, it's the second largest in New York State, top 15 in the country. And what I saw inside the brokerage was really all of this fragmentation, all of these issues. Every portal was different, and we really needed to solve it. And what I did with Weimlo was we built a fulfillment arm, and we built kind of like an Uber network for processing. So we built our own POS, our own LOS, our own CRM, and we wrapped it around the processing network, and we had these processors. After I sold from Weimlo to Remax, it was an incredible run. It was 20 months. Definitely got a little lucky. Anyone that says that luck is not involved is a liar as an entrepreneur. But the stars aligned, and we were able to sell. I signed a 3-year non-compete, which is why I wasn't in the space for a while. And during that time, I was working very closely with AI and blockchain outside of that domain. And the first time I saw an AI agent, Brian, actually go out and fulfill a task and log into another website, book travel, do whatever it was, I had one of those aha moments that I was like, holy cow, this is it. I call them, I don't mean to say this negatively, but $80,000 to $100,000 a year typists. That's what processing underwriters essentially do. And the first time I saw an AI agent go out and fulfill a task, log into a different portal and execute, I said, wow, this is it. And immediately I couldn't sleep like, every entrepreneur does that has a passion for mortgage. I don't know why it's there, but it's just there. I couldn't sleep, and I was just so excited about building. I incorporated in June of 2025, recruited a Y Combinator CTO, Sugu Venagithan, who is an absolute genius. He's special. You
I've
met
spent
him.
some time with Sugi, man. He
Yeah,
is special.
he is special. And when we bring a rare combination of an AI expert that's truly an AI expert and truly a mortgage expert that understands the technology at least enough. And we brought on 9 engineers, and we're building fast. We raised our seed round, and we just raised another round. So things are progressing pretty quickly for us. And we're really excited to solve the issues that face the mortgage industry today.
So let's dig into a couple of those issues. You've already scratched the surface a little bit. So lenders today, they're still duct taping things together, right? From LOS to POS to even CRM, pricing engines, portals. If they're brokers, then they've got all the different portals that they deliver to from a lender perspective. And then in between all that duct tape, they hire a bunch of humans to fill the gaps, right?
Exactly right.
So, a couple questions for you to kind of, drill into, where does fragmentation hurt the most today? What does that actually cost a lender? And then why hasn't more technology solved this already?
Sure, sure. Great question. Great question. So I would say fragmentation for the most part is at handoff, right? So we have all of these, like what I used to call, they were great tools. Unfortunately today, I don't think they're great tools. But they were great tools. These POSs, these CRMs, the LOSs, we call them great tools, but unfortunately at handoff, they don't speak to one another, right? And that's what MISMO's job is really. But unfortunately, due to lenders having overlays, different appraisal companies, AMCs requiring different data above and beyond just a traditional XML file. Same goes for the TPO portals. The industry doesn't speak to each other, right? So that's really the biggest issue. And the cost to it is expensive. I mean, I would say through capital markets, you're talking about like $7,000 to originate. We've estimated at Maestro, just the fulfillment arm. So basically, origination when it comes to taking in the file, processing, underwriting, we're in the $3,000 to $4,000 cost range, I would say, for processing and underwriting. And yeah, I mean, it just is really expensive. It's a big issue. Why it hasn't really changed yet? I mean, I'm just going to be honest. I think the technology just quite wasn't here yet. Twofold, right? One is the industry is, as a whole, mortgage is very slow to adopt new technology. I actually think this time around, it's a little bit different. I mean, just yesterday, 2 days ago, news broke of Freedom signing a deal with Palantir.
Yeah.
I mean, you see something like that. That's something that is completely non-traditional. That's a venture that should wake everyone up and say, hey, we were doing things wrong. Maybe we got to change things a little bit. So things are changing really fast and it's getting exciting. And I think it's just a matter of not having the technology. The technology wasn't here yet, and it's here now. But I think we're seeing lenders adopt it a lot faster than they used to adopt the old technology because, quite frankly, if you don't, you're gone. You're gone. You're a dinosaur.
Yeah, and I think where we are today as humans, every one of us and our cousin is using some form of AI somewhere in some capacity, right? And so I want to get into like the details of Maestro, right? But before we describe what is Maestro, maybe you should start by describing what it's not.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. And Maestro is not another point solution. It is not another LOS. It is not another CRM. Quite frankly, I hate those acronyms. My first LinkedIn post when I came back was, I keep hearing about CRM, POS, LOS, and I just feel like the days of those acronyms are done. I think the whole industry is changing, and that's what we're building, right? We're building an execution platform, an orchestration platform. Call it whatever you want, call it whatever acronym you want. But I think the days of those POSs and LOSs and CRMs, those traditional kind of 3-letter acronyms that the mortgage industry has been running on, I think those days are gone and they're not obsolete.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think of where we are today. Lenders may still have some point solutions, but they're going to have a layer that orchestrates the work, right?
Absolutely.
And then that gets into you described your aha moment was seeing these agents do things, do tasks. So when you say agentic in the construct of mortgage banking, mortgage origination, what does that really mean in terms of production?
So I would say old systems used to automate, new systems will execute, right? And what I mean by that is, think of your LOS and you popping up as a processor, going into the office and having the most robust LOS, a few years ago, that was cutting edge at that point, right? Quotes. And all it would do would list tasks for processor to go in and do, right? And it would organize those tasks rule-based, no AI, just organize those tasks based off rules, based off the contract date, let's say, right? Based off the contract date, we need to do this today on this borrower, and a human will do those things. The beautiful thing about AI is that broker or that processor goes to sleep the night before, then they wake up the next morning and they have what's called an audit trail or artifacts. And what it will show is all of the things that that agent did on behalf of that processor. So we go from an automation layer to an execution layer. And that changes the dynamics of everything, right? So, I mean, I just get excited talking about it. It's like super fun and it's exhilarating and it's exciting. So yeah, execution is more important than automation, and that's the future.
So at what point does AI move from assistant to operator? Are we getting closer to that every day?
I think we're right there, Brian. I think we are right there. Like I said, that deal with Freedom and Palantir, if that doesn't open your eyes, I don't know what will. But we are right there. I mean, I see what I'm building as a startup. Granted, we're able to build not on legacy debt, which I think is beneficial. We're a team of 12 to 15, young, hungry, entrepreneurial engineers that can move and pivot fast. So we have a little bit of a leg up in that regard. But as a whole, I would imagine the industry is moving super fast in that direction. And if you don't, you're going to be left behind.
Yeah, and I love what you guys are doing. Like I said, I've spent some time with you and Sugi. It's amazing. It's amazing how fast you can kind of bring things, to life right now in this current state with the tools that are out there. So let's connect the dots a little bit. This is a MISMO mic'd up podcast, so we got to connect the dots a little bit to MISMO. So I talk a lot about standards and the importance of standards. And when you and I first got reacquainted here in the last few months, you shared that the MISMO architecture, infrastructure, and standards are really important, especially when you're going to start using AI tools in the process. What did you guys see early on, with respect to MISMO and standards that unlock, AI for this mortgage manufacturing process?
Twofold. One is bad data in, bad data out, right? That's the golden rule. Good data out. I don't think you could build a technology product in mortgage, Brian, without a close relationship to MISMO. I truly don't. I think that's our only hope as an industry. Actually, I think everyone needs to rally behind MISMO to really get what is the ultimate goal, right? What's the ultimate goal? The ultimate goal isn't to make money. The ultimate goal is to save borrowers money when they're buying or refinancing homes. And I think the only way to do that with AI is to really fully adopt, build tools off, we're talking about building MCP tools off of MISMO. That's like the big thing. And we're building some of them. I think if you don't align closely with the MISMO standards, you are not going to successfully be able to launch an AI product, an agentic framework, or whatever else.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I did not fully appreciate that, until about 3 months ago. And I started to notice a lot of inbound inquiries coming into our team. And there was a lot of a handful of startups in the AI, automation space. And the mindset was the same as you just described, right? It was, you need to build on this trusted set of artifacts around standardization, and even starting at a simple place like the business glossary, the definitions for fields and terms and all that. I think a lot of the legacy players and platforms in our industry might take that for granted, but it's refreshing to see, newcomers, startups like Maestro really, lean in, and not just lean in, but like you guys are really getting involved and getting deep into the weeds.
Totally. Well, let's face it. I mean, you guys are an anchor of the entire industry. I mean, I truly believe that. And it's interesting, Brian. I agree with you in the sense there, you guys are like a silent killer.
Yeah.
Like if you go ask a lot of mortgage brokers in the country and you poll 100 of them, I feel like there's a chance that 50% of them won't even know what MISMO is, right?
Oh, yeah.
and it's interesting. But if you're in technology and you're trying to solve this problem, you better know. So it's and also, you know, the people before you and what you're doing now, it's you guys are always on the cutting edge trying to enable these type of solutions to go. So it's not like your schemas are changing often, right? You guys are updating your guidelines, you guys are updating your data formats, you're progressive. So I think we're all, you know, without you guys, I don't think any of this other stuff happens. And I think people need to understand that.
Well, I appreciate that. So let's talk a little bit about trust, compliance, and reality, right? So um, one of the big questions I think that lenders are having in our industry is or maybe not question, more of a concern. It's a concern of the unknown. What are the regulators? How are they going to look at my processes when I'm starting to layer in, AI and agentic process management and automation, things like that? So from your seat, what has to be true for lenders to trust AI with execution? Let's start
Sure.
there.
Absolutely. So one of our agents is agent audit, right? Agent audit. There's a term called hallucinate. There's a term called artifacts and hallucinations, right? Artifacts. We don't want our AI to hallucinate. We don't want our AI to ask about the weather and answer a question. We want it to stay in domain. So we have guardrails up at different points of the process that basically allow that to happen. So that's really the biggest thing that we do. As far as the artifacts are concerned, think of it like this: our agent audit tracks every single thing that gets done in the entire system. So as they submit a file, as we get past trade and we get the 6 pieces of information, we have that data standard. We know that we need to send out disclosures. As they order an appraisal, we have that data tracked and stored. So every single part of the process is auditable and traceable and hashed and is incorruptible and can't be altered. So what it does is it allows lenders to see not only what the outcome was, but why the outcome was made. And I think that's the key, and that's the importance of some of the guardrails that we've implemented. And I think that's the importance of really, if you don't have this type of stuff, you're not going to get implemented by some of these lenders and some of these regulators. You need to show not only the answers. It's kind of like, the when you were in third grade and you had a math problem, and instead of just like answering the question, you had to show your work.
Yeah.
We show our work, right?
Yep.
And that's what we do at Maestro.
And that's, to your point, that is mission critical for where we are in the current landscape with regulators. So I love that. So I have 3 questions that I think every business operator is probably going to be asking as you guys kind of hit the market, right? So what happens to cost per loan when a lender deploys a strategy that includes a platform like Maestro?
Yeah, so I will use what my CTO Sugi says, that we will process a loan for cheaper than a cup of Starbucks coffee. Now, granted, that's Starbucks, Brian. It's not Dunkin' Donuts, so
That's
it's
right.
expensive. But that's how cheap we think we can get this down to, and that's what we're building towards. Literally, GPU cost and all in, literally down to a cup of Starbucks coffee, $10 and under.
Amazing. Well, $10 is a pretty cheap Starbucks coffee these days, I think, especially if you're
there you go. You're right.
like, not for me. I'm just a black coffee guy, but if you foo it up with all the stuff,
Yeah, with grande macchiato, you may be talking about 15. I should ask him what type of coffee he was talking about.
Yeah. So safe to say, we get costs down. It's almost a given that also compresses cycle times, which is that adds another compression to cost as well, right? And potentially headcount.
Totally. Time is money. Yeah. I mean, I think you're going to have a much better borrower experience. It's going to be quicker. I think, buying a house is going to become a lot like buying a t-shirt. It's going to be that quick of a transaction. I legitimately think that the convergence of AI and blockchain and tokenization, I think we're at the precipice of having to maybe change the TRID rules to 3 days, because you're going to be able to disclose, close, and underwrite all in a day. And I think we're heading towards that. So it's exciting. It's really exciting.
So you just kind of stole my question, but if you were to look out 5 years, is that what you see in 5 years in our business?
I do. Yeah, I do. I legit, and I think it's less than 5 years. I think that regulations might have to change to adopt to the new way of doing business. And yeah, I do think that if you're a AAA rated borrower, you're putting down 20%. I think, there's no reason why you're connecting your assets and income to Plaid. You're doing, Fannie Mae day one certainty. An AI agent processes that loan, in minutes, and, you're closing the next day. So I would say the days of cash offers are probably going to be less strong.
Yeah. Yeah. I
It'll
love
be,
that. So
it'll be a lot
I,
easier to approve people.
I have a lightning round of 3 questions or statements. But
Sure.
before we do that, let's talk about the MISMO Spring Summit, June 1st through the 4th in Louisville, Kentucky. Maestro will be on stage.
Yeah.
You'll be presenting to our audience. Give us a sneak peek of what they can expect there.
It's excited, nervous, but excited. I always get a little nervous before I go up on stage, but then once I relax, I'm okay. And I know I'm talking about something I love, so it's always easier to do so. But we're really just going to show a little bit of the platform. Some of the work that we're doing with you guys, we're going to demo that. But just to talk a little bit about what Maestro is we've basically broken down the mortgage stack into 5 different agents. So we have agent intro, which is an agentic POS. We have agent structure, which basically structures the loan with one click of a button. So think about raw documents coming in and us being able to just hit structure. Our knowledge graph has Fannie and Freddie guidelines, and we're able to restructure a file, make sure it passes, and we give them like a certificate as if it passed AUS without running AUS. That's what agent structure does. That saves a lot of time. There's a lot of times that people are doing change of circumstances, restructuring files. AI is a great use case for that at that structure point. We have agent pitch, which actually helps the borrower get across the line. So let's say we have a MISMO file that comes in into our system. With one click of a button, the broker can select what type of LLM he wants the tone of that email to go out to the borrower. And we're looking at different data points on that 1003 instead of just DTI and LTV. We're trying to get the borrower's emotions. And if we see that they have 2 kids on the application and the school district is in a zip code that is really good, and the mortgage broker selects an emotional LLM, we're going to start talking about that type of stuff rather than DTI, LTV to really get that ball across the line. So that's agent pitch. And then we have agent porta, which is one of the most disruptive moats that we have, patent pending. That allows us to basically take the file and go right into the TPO portal and submit it to, that's a huge part of the process that causes huge delays, huge problems. We were talking about those handoffs. Our AI agents can actually go in, submit, and clear files on behalf of a processor. And then we have agent audit, which ties everything together with compliance and MCR and trade reporting. So at the summit, not all of those things will be done. We're talking about only 2 months away. It's a large build. We're moving fast. But we will be demoing the MCP MISMO protocol that we built out. We'll be demoing an agentic POS and other pieces of the platform. It's a modular stack. So, we're excited about what we're building and we're excited to show it off.
Love it. I can't wait. It's going to be great.
Well, thank you for having me on the event. I mean, I'm so excited about going. I think it's going to be a great time.
So I've got three statements that I'm just going to ask you to agree or disagree with.
Great.
And we may have to do a follow up with the details.
Fair enough.
So the LOS becomes infrastructure, not the center of gravity. Do you agree with that statement or disagree?
Agreed.
Yeah. So it's almost like it's the source of data, the single source of truth, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Loan officers become advisors, not process managers.
Yeah, 100%. Right. Agreed. Like there's no doubt about that. Unfortunately, I do see a compression in the amount of loan officers and real estate agents. I think that we're going to see the numbers shrink. Unfortunately, but the producers that are producing are going to change their role. I think they'll produce more, but they'll be working on the things that make them good. I used to not allow my LOs when I ran the brokerage to go inside Encompass. There's no place for them to be, right? So I think the future allows LOs and MLOs to be MLOs and not get in the weeds of restructuring files and processing. You got to remember these loan officers, they're making $15,000 commission, $10,000 commission, So unfortunately, our industry has been the type of industry that the squeaky wheel gets the oil, and they need to be so hands-on and controlling and crazy that they can't trust it. So, So I think I agree with that statement.
And the last one, I think we already know the answer. the fastest lender wins, not the biggest lender.
I completely agree. The fastest lender wins. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I actually think if you're big, I think, and you're not, I think you have legacy debt. I think you're in trouble right now. And look, I bet you, I wouldn't doubt if Freedom was just totally overhauling their entire system with Palantir and the other partner they announced with. So because they know they can't build AI infrastructure on legacy debt, right? So that's one of the advantages that we have. Hopefully, speed to market, even being a small team and a startup. But yeah,
Awesome. David, this has been great, man. I learned so much more than I expected coming in. I appreciate your energy, your perspective. Super excited about being together at the summit in June, and can't wait for others to see the great work that you guys are doing at Maestro.
awesome, Brian. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. This has been great. You're someone I look up to in the space, and it's I really appreciate you having me on here. Appreciate you believing in Maestro and having our back, and we're gonna make Mismo proud.
Let's do it. Well,
Thanks, man.
guys, thanks for tuning in. Come back next Friday for our next episode of MISMO Mic'd Up, and we'll do this again.